Have you ever wondered what life is like for the animals we cheer for in circuses? It's a question that tugs at heartstrings, provoking us to delve deeper. Behind the glitz and glamour of circus performances, the reality can be quite different. Many of these animals are subjected to less than ideal living conditions and harsh training methods. They're often far removed from their natural habitats and forced to perform tricks that are unnatural to them. Today, we're going to delve into the life of one such animal. One elephant named Tyke, who lived this reality, has a story that might just change your perspective. Tyke, a female African bush elephant, was a star in Circus International in Hawaii. Her grandeur and majesty were a spectacle to behold, and she quickly became a crowd favorite. But behind the bright circus lights and the sound of applause, there was a darker side to Tyke's life. She was more than just a performer. Tyke was a living, breathing creature with emotions and a keen sense of her surroundings. Life in the circus was far from the natural habitat she was born into. Instead of roaming the wide-open plains of Africa, Tyke was confined to a life of performing tricks and stunts for the amusement of crowds. Reports began to surface of Tyke's mistreatment by her handler. The tools of the trade, bull hooks and electric prods, were used to control and discipline her. This was not a life befitting to such a majestic creature. The harsh training methods were not only cruel, but also took a toll on Tyke's mental and physical health. There were signs of her discontent. Prior to that fateful day in 1994, Tyke had been involved in 3 incidents, each more alarming than the last. She had escaped during a performance and had even attacked a tiger trainer. These were not acts of a content animal, but cries for help from a creature pushed beyond her limits. Despite these warning signs, Tyke continued to perform. Her acts became more erratic, her demeanor more aggressive. It was clear that the strain of circus life was becoming too much for her to bear, yet she was forced to continue her performances, her distress overlooked in the pursuit of entertainment. But Tyke's story took a tragic turn during one fateful performance. On August 20, 1994, during a performance, Tyke's suppressed instincts took over. The tension in the circus tent was palpable as Tyke, an African bush elephant, rebelled against her handlers. Years of mistreatment and confinement had taken their toll and, in a moment of raw, unfiltered instinct, Tyke fought back. In the midst of a performance, she turned on her trainer, a shocking act that sent waves of panic through the crowd. The spectators who had come for a night of entertainment were now witnesses to a horrifying spectacle. The groomer too was not spared from Tyke's outburst. The elephant, driven by a primal need for freedom, was unstoppable. Having dealt with her immediate oppressors, Tyke turned her attention to the only thing standing between her and freedom: the walls of the circus tent. With a strength born of desperation, she tore through the barriers that had held her captive for so long. Suddenly, the streets of Hawaii became an unexpected stage for her dramatic escape. As Tyke thundered down the roads, the citizens of Hawaii watched in a mixture of awe and fear. This was not a spectacle they had anticipated when they woke up that day. Traffic came to a standstill, pedestrians scattered, and law enforcement was called in to handle a situation they were ill-prepared for. For over 30 minutes, Tyke ruled the streets. Each stride she took was a testament to her longing for freedom, her desire to escape the confines of her imprisonment. It was a sight both inspiring and heartbreaking. Here was a creature, majestic and powerful, attempting to reclaim her freedom in a world that was not designed for her. As word of Tyke's escape spread, the ensuing panic and chaos were palpable. The streets echoed with the sounds of sirens and the frantic calls of law enforcement. The community was united in their shock and fear, yet there was an underlying sense of sadness for Tyke. Here was an elephant, a symbol of strength and wisdom, reduced to a spectacle of terror and confusion. Tyke's escape was not just a bid for freedom, it was a cry for help, a desperate plea for understanding and compassion. It was a stark reminder of the consequences of subjecting wild animals to a life of servitude and entertainment. It was a testament to the indomitable spirit of animals, their inherent need for freedom and their resilience in the face of adversity. Tyke's desperate bid for freedom, however, was destined to end in tragedy. As the sirens wailed and the crowd watched in helpless horror, Tyke's flight for freedom became a poignant symbol of the struggle faced by all animals in captivity. The streets of Hawaii became a stage for a heartbreaking drama, one that would spark a global conversation on the rights and treatment of animals. Cornered and scared, Tyke was met not with understanding but with violence. The tragic climax of this tale unfolded on the streets of Hawaii as Tyke, an African bush elephant found herself in an unfamiliar and hostile environment. Tyke was no longer a performer but a frightened animal seeking escape. The authorities, unprepared for such an extraordinary situation, made the decision to use force. It was a choice that would seal Tyke's fate and leave an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of the public. The police, faced with a rampaging elephant and the potential danger to the public, opened fire. Tyke, the star of the show, was now the target of a hail of bullets. Despite her strength and size, she was no match for the lethal force unleashed upon her. Tyke succumbed to her injuries. Her final moments played out not under the big top, but on the harsh asphalt of the city streets. Her death sent shockwaves through the community, and indeed, the world. The public's reaction to the tragic end of Tyke's life was a mix of horror, sadness, and outrage. The media coverage that followed painted a grim picture of animal exploitation in the entertainment industry. The images of Tyke's lifeless body being removed from the streets, coupled with heartbreaking stories of her mistreatment, captured the attention of millions. This incident, which could have been another forgettable headline in the annals of news, instead became a rallying point. People began to question the ethics of using animals for entertainment. The tragedy of Tyke's death sparked a public discourse on animal rights, the morality of circuses, and the cruel training methods often employed. In death, Tyke became more than just another casualty of the entertainment industry. She became a symbol, a heartbreaking reminder of the price paid by animals in captivity. Her story made people sit up and take notice, and it challenged the status quo. Tyke's tragic end became a catalyst for change. Her story continues to resonate, reminding us of the need for compassion and respect for all living creatures. And while her life was cut short in the most tragic of circumstances, her legacy lives on, inspiring a revolution in the way we view and treat animals in the world of entertainment. Tyke's story sparked lawsuits, legislation, and a renewed conversation about the welfare of circus animals. The tragic tale of Tyke, the African bush elephant, who met a heart-wrenching end on the streets of Hawaii, did more than just touch our hearts. It stirred a global conversation and brought the plight of circus animals under the spotlight. In the aftermath of Tyke's death, there was a seismic shift in the public perception of animal treatment in circuses, leading to increased scrutiny, lawsuits, and new regulations. Circuses, once considered a place of joy and wonder, were now under the microscope. They were questioned and criticized for their cruel training methods, such as the use of bullhooks and electric prods on elephants. The very industry that had thrived on the spectacle of exotic animals was now facing the consequences of their cruel practices. The incident with Tyke led to a series of lawsuits, notably against Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Ampey Bailey Circus. Accused of mistreating elephants, the circus was embroiled in legal battles which ended in a settlement. But the damage was done. The court of public opinion had already passed its verdict, and the circus, unable to survive the backlash, eventually closed its doors forever in 2017. The changes didn't stop there. In 2018, New Jersey became the first state to ban circuses from featuring exotic animals. A significant step forward, this legislation signaled a shift in societal attitudes towards the rights and welfare of animals. Tyke's story continues to resonate, reminding us of the urgent need to protect animals and their rights. We've come a long way since that fateful day in 1994, but there's still much to be done. Each one of us holds the power to bring about change to ensure that no animal ever has to endure the pain and suffering that Tyke did. In memory of Tyke, we urge you to support animal rights and stricter regulations for circuses, because no animal should have to pay the price Tyke did for our entertainment.